And then it talks a little bit about how I had a seat at the table. So when I stood up that location, I was pretty instrumental in helping to stand it up, right? So like I was in a lot of these very critical decisions. And so after that new leader came in, I found myself working on stuff and then having the leader at the time basically question everything I said and everything I thought, right? So it was a very tough time. And I was working one day just sending this person an email. And I've done a million of those, right? But I started to kind of feel my chest tighten and my heart race. And I started to kind of shake. And I was like, what is happening? Am I having a heart attack right now? I'm just sending an email, you know? And I realized I'm having a panic attack. This is an actual panic attack. And I see some head nods around the room. People may have had these. I had not had one up till now. And I was kind of shaken by the whole thing. Tying it back to the church thing, I had found that I was like tired in a way and weary in a way that I had never known before. And so what I share in the story is that very night that I had that panic attack, that's when I asked God to be my Lord and Savior. That's when I asked God, because basically I said, I'm tired of doing this all by myself. And I gave my life over to Him. And so that is a critical point in this book, because what happens, and it doesn't have to be necessarily a religious moment, but what happens in a lot of our lives is that we climb a mountain. We climb what David Brooks calls the first mountain of achievement, and we climb and climb and climb. And then we kind of get, like we use in the nomenclature of my faith, we come to the end of ourselves. There's nothing really for us anymore to just get for ourselves and for our own benefit. And that's where I was. I was done with all of that stuff. And when I turned everything over, that's when I said, I just want to be about other people. Now, what does that have to do with this book? That's what this book is all about. This book is a story about why the voices we follow matter. It is a story about all of you, and hopefully anybody else that may read the book in the future, and really which voices we listen to. So there's a couple of characters in the book. Does anybody know who the fictitious characters are in the book? Who's the voice of self-doubt, hurt, irrationality, and triggering?
Sergeant.
Can you say it? Stunod. That's something that my Gram used to say all the time, and she sometimes would say it about me. So she'd say, you're so smart, but you're also a Stunod, you know, because I didn't have you got no common sense. So that's where I came up with that character. And that voice in my head was the one beating me down. It was the one that made me so vulnerable to that leader questioning me. And who's the other voice? Who's the voice of humility and curiosity and intentionality and teachability? Who's the voice that tells you that you're worth something in the book? Anybody know that character's name? The Colonel. Colonel O. Truth. Colonel O. Truth. And so I named the Colonel O. Truth to kind of talk about how we also have this other voice that we should listen to. So those are two of the voices that matter, right? And they were competing for me. They were competing for me for a long time until I finally listened to the Colonel of Truth. And that's kind of a lot of what this is. But I use other voices to carry us through the story. All of the characters I've met along my life and that have been so important, I can't even look over there, have been so important to me, and who, you know, all of you in this room represent that, and that have, you know, lifted me up. And so what I'm hoping that people get out of the book is that they have voices. They have voices in their lives they have voices that matter to them, and that they will start to learn to discern and listen to the ones that truly matter, and stop listening to Stunod, because Stunod isn't the one you want to listen to, right? So that's really the moral of the whole thing. We can actually go home now. But that's the point I want to get across, is that that person that when I attended that retirement party, I went up and hugged them. And I said, thank you. You brought me closer to God. Because by the time I had gotten to his retirement, I had recognized that really that this person was an incredibly important person to me, because basically they made my life a very difficult time for a short time, but it really made me focus on what was most important. Okay?